In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, you gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with a Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. How are you this morning? Let's have a happy hump day here, shall we, today? I hope you caught last night's Munson and the Geezer. Lots of fun with Tony. A little bit different to the Good Morning Portugal show. But I think you'll find some of the humour that you'll have experienced and hopefully enjoyed here is available on that, as well as the Portuguese's unique worldview as well, including let me just see if I can bring to you his closing comments last night, which I must admit I struggled to understand. It was a kind of dad joke scenario, but it didn't go quite as planned, possibly. Let me just see if I can bring that short onto the screen. It was a difficult situation that the Portuguese was recounting. Oh, okay, yes, so we've got that now. Good morning to you. I'll bring it to you in just a moment. Good morning to you, James. Hi, James. How you doing? Jackie. Oh, Carl sent you a vid of me trying to hear Portuguese. Very good. Oh, the sound works fine today. I don't know what happened. It was going through a different microphone, but that wouldn't account for why it was like Donald Duck yesterday. I forgot about that. I'll have to have a little look at that if I remember, and maybe make a clip of it. We could make our own jingle of me sounding like Daffy Duck or Donald Duck or whoever it was, the Chipmunks. Great show in capital letters last night. Thanks, Carl. Yeah, what did you make of the end of the show last night when Tony got a little bit upset? Actually, let me see if I can find that for you now. Gosh, there's files everywhere here. No, I can't see it anywhere. Where's it gone? No, I don't think I can find it for you right now. I'll have a look a little bit later on and we'll see if we can do that. What I did forget to do yesterday, actually, was give you the God Squad tip of the day in the hurly-burly of getting chatting and giggly with Terence Austin, aka Chinese Terry, Eggy Top Notes and Poopy Long Legs. Yes, it gets complicated, doesn't it? God Squad tip of the day yesterday then. As I'm sure we're all aware, bone density can be a problem as we age, and not just for women. The good news is that weight-bearing exercises can help increase bone density, which reminds me of the time I got into trouble with, what is that? What's the disease where bone density... I can't remember, but I wrote an article about it, and they sent me a letter. The sort of head honchos of the people who promote medications to rebuild bone density. I was running a natural health center, and we were doing X-rays. That's right, we're doing, not me. I'm not a radiographer, but we had somebody come in and do X-rays. And I think there may well be useful medications, but I think it's quite interesting to look at the nutrition that might be helpful to increase bone density as well. Leafy green veg, I think. Anyway, I'm not a nutritionist. Let's go back to the coach. So I have 3 that have been shown by research to be particularly useful. Okay, this is great. Nutrition and activity, physical exercise. I'll explain over the next couple of days. So I'm glad I've come back to this so we can set it up correctly, which I'll explain over the next couple of days. As usual, if you have any doubts, talk to your health professional. First up is very simple. Jumping, standing on the spot, bends the knees and jump as high as possible. The impact force of landing encourages bone building. Yeah, use it or lose it. So I guess the less you do that and the less flexible you become, the more problems you create for yourself is basically the gist of this, is it not, coach? Leave 20 to 30 seconds between each jump and do 10 to 15. And maybe wait for people to come into the kitchen and then jump. The most effective version of this is the squat jump. Oh, but that takes a bit of building up to. Next one tomorrow. We'll do that today then, of course. So I'm glad I went back on that, and we'll post that up in the Portugal Club so you can catch up on all the oldies there, including the full course. There's a course of videos when it comes to growing old disgracefully. So thanks, Coach. Excellent stuff. More people coming. Is it a bit of a lazy start on this hump day this morning? Bon dia to you, which were Ernesto and Bob Wenger up there in the north. Bon dia, Portugal, from John, and bon dia todos. I was listening last night on YouTube and it stopped suddenly at 40 minutes. Couldn't find anything anymore. Right, I'm going to sort this out once and for all. The reason it stops is because I give you a little taste of it on this channel, on Good Morning Portugal, the YouTube channel. And we have another channel now. Please listen up to this because it's quite important. We have another channel called GMP TV. It's not the same thing. I'm going to use Good Morning Portugal for these long live streams for those hardcore gumpers who are here in the morning and those who want to catch up. Hello to you if you're catching up later on in the day. And it was lovely to get those few messages from people who do listen later on in the day. Thank you for doing that, and keep those messages coming. Actually, I'm just wondering where Astrid might be this morning. I'm hoping we will speak to Astrid. If not, I'll have a little look myself. Mike Blake's also joining us this morning as well to talk about a business seminar he's giving in Caldas de Rainha this week as well. Caldas, of course, I'll get Mike to talk about Caldas a little bit because it's our Portuguese point of interest of the week. Now, where was I going with this? Yes, GMP TV. Now, I'm going to give you the URL of this. Please subscribe, and then you'll be alert. And if you get notifications, you'll be alerted to the fact that Munson and the Geese are live on a Tuesday evening, and the other clips that we put over there, like the documentary, the real estate documentary that we showed premiered yesterday. That's the sort of thing that ends up over on GMP TV, which I thought will be a good place to broaden the kind of content that we're offering. So it's not going terribly well. That idea, some of my ideas obviously backfire. This is one of them. So I'll ask you, please, if you will, to subscribe over on the link that I'm giving you now in the chat. And I might have to do a bit more of work on this, of course, and maybe pop it in the ticker tape so people understand. But people did struggle with this yesterday. So it's GMP TV HQ, the YouTube channel for that sort of thing, and that's where the Munson and the Geezer show was last night. Okay, Astrid is here now, so we better go straight to Astrid. A teaser, not Astrid, and me. Thanks for the clarification. I was walking with Gus, and he was on a hot trail. I couldn't stop and switch. Yeah, when you've got a hunting dog like we do, Bob, the dog's nose tends to take precedence, doesn't it, when you're out and about? Let's give her a nice big round of applause. Hola, bon dia, tudo bem? Hi, Astrid.
Hi, Carl. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, good this morning. It's a happy hump day here in San Martin de Porto. And look, yes, it's brightening up. How about Cascais, Astrid?
It sounds a bit the same as you. It was raining this morning, but there's some sunshine peeking through now. So, yeah, let's hope it stays that way.
The rain will be a dim and distant memory by brunch time, I hope. What's going on? We're learning about how to move things to Portugal, are we not, on the webinar this week, tomorrow evening? Right.
Yes. So if you are planning on moving to Portugal and you want to bring all of your personal belongings, this is the webinar for you. We're talking about taxes and if you have to pay and how to, baggage certificates and duties and things to look out for, how to choose your best removal company and things like that. So it's a good one.
Very good. Okay. And have you got a kipper tree update? I was delighted. Actually, this is a bit of useful news for people, isn't it? People who were subscribers to the Kipper Tree newsletter, which of course is now owned and run by Expats Portugal, need to re-register, don't they, for the newsletter? They can't assume that it will continue with GDPR.
It's kind of that we're asking for a couple of extra bits of information in the subscription. So we're hoping that people can choose their language of how they want to receive their newsletter. And also,
very good. Yes.
And also whether they're a buyer or a real estate agent, just so that we have an idea of who's out there. So yeah, that's why there's the updated details. And then of course, just to tick how we can contact give us permission to contact them, but otherwise the email should be as normal as possible.
Yep, look at this. And the newsletter that came out on Sunday was very interesting. You are clarifying the purpose of Kippertree now, and there are some sort of key principles, aren't there, or defining qualities of the sort of properties you're looking for. Would you mind briefly saying what they are this morning here?
Sure. So what we're going to focus on is really, I guess, sustainable homes. So energy rating A plus, A minus, B plus, B minus. So anything that's going to be warm and comfortable in winter and cool and comfortable in summer.
And not a terrible shock.
No, because it was not that long ago that the building regulations here in Portugal, when it came to building properties, they didn't have to think about insulation and ventilation. So a lot of the older properties do have issues with mold and damp because of the fact there's no ventilation or insulation. So what we would like to do is showcase properties in Portugal that do reach that certain standard. And it doesn't mean that it has to be a luxury property. There are a lot of very affordable properties that still fall within that category. But now with the building laws, the properties do need to be to that standard. So we're also going to be showcasing new build homes and apartments, as well as move-in ready. So if people have already done the renovation and it's to a certain standard and it's just a matter of moving in and ready to go, so no renovations, that's another criteria as well. So we just found that a lot of the feedback that we've had with expats Portugal is it is sometimes one of the biggest disappointments when people get here is that they buy their dream home and realize that there are damp problems and mold problems and the house is absolutely freezing and they can't keep it warm. So we do acknowledge that, and obviously to promote and to engage in the increased interest in sustainable properties around the world.
Very good, very good. And I mean, there are loads of properties on there already. Yes. And I think there's going to be like an evolution, isn't there, of the kind of properties that are available? Because in many ways, the abundance of properties that you find on many property portals in Portugal is much a curse as it's a blessing, because many of them aren't even for sale anymore. They can be quite misleading. So you're going to be dealing with that, grasping that nettle of making the process of finding reliable and good quality homes here in Portugal a whole lot easier for people, which I think is a really great thing to have identified in the marketplace.
Definitely, but there's still a lot to do with the site. It's still a work in progress.
Of course.
Joel, who's our developer, his wife is having a baby today, so he's off for a few days. So as much as that's frustrating to me because I can't move on with what I need to change, obviously we need to let him enjoy this special time in his life too. So
of course. James saying, what is the rent to buy category? There are loads of categories of property there. All will be revealed, and I suspect maybe we'll have a webinar, won't we, which is the introduction to the all new Kippertree at some point as well. Give people a guide.
So watch this space. But the other thing that is probably nice for your listeners to know is that we will be introducing a business directory. So if there are people that are related to real estate, or they might be some part of their business helps anybody buying homes or renovating or inspections or solar panels or whatever might be, to reach out to me, because we would love to have them listed in the business directory so that people can find you.
That's also an excellent idea. Brilliant. And also to mention the Dream Team tomorrow night gets better every week, I think, at 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. The Dream Team panel, the rock and roll of migration to Portugal. And I'm sure we'll talk about that cyber attack on Portuguese government websites that happened in the last week. We'll talk about that this morning, and I'll pick it up, I'm sure, tomorrow night at 9. So thanks a lot, Astrid. Have a great day. Thanks for popping in.
Thank you. Okay.
Bye for now. Ciao. Marvelous. And here to talk about, I don't know if you're aware, I wasn't aware of the cyber attack on many Portuguese websites. Unfortunately, not the social security or finances ones for some reason. It's uncanny, isn't it? What an incredible coincidence that those never seem to be attacked. It's good, isn't it? Of course, ultimately, the coffers of the country need to be refilled, of course, constantly, and the money spent on public services. Let's find out what happened. I don't know if she can comment specifically on that aspect of it, but generally speaking, let's bring Raquel on now from Lighthouse Consulting. Hola, bom dia! Tudo bem?
First of all, can you hear me well, Carl?
Raquel, what have you done? You're not wearing your pilot's headset, and it sounds a whole. What? It's like a children's TV show. Who is this? What's his name?
Oh, I haven't given him a name. Am I
We'll
supposed
help
to?
you with that. We'll help you with that. Of course,
Okay.
you're supposed to give your little puppet a name there. He's adorable.
So, but do you hear me? Do you hear me all right?
You sound amazing. It sounds great. This is a massive improvement. Thank you. Thank you.
No, thank you. This is, after 3 years almost, I finally bought
Around to it. Well, thank you very much for doing. I did like the this is Raquel of Lighthouse Airlines speaking.
Here, like as a backup, if you want me, I could, put it anyway.
It's just like a prop, isn't it, rather than an actual piece of useful technology. Well, this is great. What is that, like a Bluetooth device?
Exactly. This is used. I've used this, but the ones that I've used haven't been my own. When I shoot videos and stuff, because it's if you want to shoot someone long range, this is totally doable. But I also think that this is not the exact purpose of it. And if you want to do something like this, like a YouTube channel or such, you have to have a nicer microphone like you do, probably a nicer camera like I don't have. So
you're looking and sounding great. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Still have a way to go, but
No, it's a massive improvement. Thank you very much, and I'm sure some names will come in for your delightful assistant who's with you this morning.
Had no idea.
A little puppet show maybe for us. So what's going on? Cyber attack on the government websites. Feels like cyber attacks often happen here in Portugal. I think there's some truth in that, isn't there? Vodafone back in 2021. What's going on, Raquel?
Well, I think it was Thursday last week, there was a massive attack on several platforms of governmental authorities, such as commercial registry platform, digital signature platform, the solicitors platform, you name it, across the board.
Yes.
As you mentioned, the tax office was a bit off at this time, but it is it's paralyzing. And for someone like me whose business is to create companies, and Carl, we're right in
we're in the process.
The eye of the storm.
Yeah.
Last week I filed 3 companies, and of course my clients are asking me, okay, so what's next? So what's going on? When am I supposed to see any news? And then I give them this bombshell, like we don't. I can't even.
Services under recovery. Services under recovery. Yeah.
I can't even know what's going on with the processes that I have there. So if they're in, if they're not, it's impossible. Yeah. And it's not just that. Yesterday I was about to sign something, and there's a lot of good to the technology that the government uses, or the Portugal uses, such as the digital signature. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's a way that you can sign. It's a digital signature that has a stamp of certification from a governmental authority. So it means that it has the exact same value of your legal handmade signature. And then they made one step up, because if you put your signature with characteristics of your business, like I'm the manager of my own company, because they can cross-check with the conservatory, they know that I am in fact the manager of that company. I can sign on the quality of being a manager of that company. And what that means is that I don't need any lawyer to recognize my signature in any paper. I can use just that. And so yesterday I was, all pumped up. Oh no, I don't need anyone. I can do this because I have, right. Qualified signature. And then, I have the app, I have the site, I have the program on the computer, and none of them. And I was and
so pride comes before a fall. I've got this. Actually, no, we haven't got this.
And then I called my partner, please help me. I need to go there, recognize the signature for me.
Is that possible then, that this can be done manually?
Yes, no,
or
this is
there massive queues presumably now in the office?
again, there are great technological advances that Portugal has,
Yeah,
and we talk, whole shows about this Via Verde, MBWay, all
yeah.
of those sorts of things. But also when it comes to the modernization of the public administration, we have a lot of good things for you. So and this is one of them. The fact that you can have a digital signature that has the equivalent value, legal value of your manual signature. Not
Mm.
only that, but if you add some qualifications to it, like for instance, if you're a manager of a company, and because again, they can cross-check those data online, you can dismiss the necessity of having a lawyer or notary or whatever to recognize your signature. And so this gives a lot of independence and a lot of autonomy to people, because it's just those leasing contracts or whatever it is that for the hell of it they need this. It's almost more difficult than buying a freaking house, but they do. And so these are tools that are available now. Not a lot of people know this, but this can be done. And there's also a new platform where you could buy a house without remotely. This is an ongoing project. Not everyone has access to this platform, but that is a project to be able to buy houses completely remotely. So with everyone connected remotely,
Wow.
everyone, clients,
Good
everyone.
idea, a very good idea. And I suppose with every good idea, and this is not the only one, as you said, Portugal has many ideas like the MB Way, Via Verde, Tosta Mista, excellent innovations, of course. The more you go into these clever ideas, I suppose the dark side of that is there are more things that can go wrong. And that perhaps is what's gone on. And James is saying it. I know they do, as in cyber attacks happen everywhere, but I think it must be more problematic here because there are a lot more processes. Yeah, we are trying to get a lot of processes online. I think I can't imagine if I ever had a cyber attack. I think they did have a little bit of an attack, and
I
Raquel,
think they don't need one. They're already like
nobody noticed.
Oh, that was
Right.
That would be a great excuse, by the way. Hey, if you're listening.
Yes, this is a website you can go to find out the state of play. Thank you very much, Raquel, for supplying that to us. And of course, our business process was halted by our own inefficiency. That's me and Mrs. M. We are going through the business of incorporating with you, which, of course, in theory, it's like like the technology. It's going to be great when it's all online, etc., etc. And the idea is that you can start a business in Portugal in 48 hours. But there are certain variables, aren't there, that where you can come unstuck, and where we came unstuck most recently, and then this added complication as well, is that there are moments when you have to pay a fee, and then you have to pay that fee within a certain time frame. And for some reason, we didn't do that. Well, our own incompetence was that reason, basically. And then we've gone into this mess now. So it's gone off on a tangent, hasn't it?
So downhill from there. But
yes.
There's a critic there I have to do there. They give you 48 hours to pay for the certificate of the admissible. I'm off today, so
it's the new microphone, isn't it? Maybe it's the new mic.
It might be, I don't know, but they give you 48 hours for the certificate of the name, whatever it is. Okay, and those 48 hours should be business days, right? Because they're not receiving payments on Saturdays and on Sundays because the services are not open. Okay. And that's the problem. It happened before with other clients. They thought, this was on a Friday or a Thursday, and they thought they had until Monday when they didn't. It's 48 hours of, every day, weekend or business day. And so I think that there should be at least the consideration that everybody admits or thinks that it's business days only when it's not. It includes the weekend, which is kind of silly, but it doesn't. So that's how a lot of people miss that deadline. But, everything is salvageable.
Yes.
Because what we do then, as you know, we always ask for 3 options when we register a name. So it's always possible, okay, now to put the second option up, and to submit the process again. So, everything is salvageable, but again, it takes more time. Now we don't even know how much time it's going to take because I can't even, get to the system.
Yeah.
But these are the things. And there's also another thing, because we've been talking about the tax portal. The tax portal, everybody should change their passwords, because there's news today.
Is that right? Good information. Thank you.
Yeah. So everybody pay attention, go and change your passwords, because they were all over the place. Apparently nobody knew. This was months ago.
Yeah.
And today, finally, the news came that happened. So, during all these months, we were exposed and we didn't know.
That's a can of worms, isn't it? Because tax representatives often have your password.
Oh, yeah.
Finances portal. So make sure you're on the same page as your tax representative.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll overcome that data protection issue of tax representatives saying, "Oh yeah, I've got your password here. They sent it to me. I'm using it. I'll send it to you now." It's like there should be a better and more secure system than that, and there probably will be in time. And this is it. This is the Agencia para a Modernización Administrativa. So there is a government department that is trying to modernize everything and bring it under one roof. And I guess they've got a long journey ahead of them, and they don't need a curveball of this kind, do they, at the moment?
No, and this agency is the reason why we can create a company remotely. This is the reason why, there's certain offices all around the country where anyone can just go there and book an appointment and create a company on their own.
Yeah,
a lot of good things again come from this agency. They Casa Pronta is also another one. So it's the process of being able to buy a house in a much simpler way. It was much more complicated before. Now it's easier. So, but with technology comes, it's the yin and yang, right? So dark forces versus the evolution. So I guess it's bound to happen.
And I imagine they've got some really bright minds and some good ideas in those new departments, and they're pushing against tradition, aren't they? They're pushing against the huge mass of old-fashioned ways of working.
And sometimes it's even it's as stupid as this. In one process, I think it was like on my real estate license, or I don't know, it was one kind of process like that. They did it, or was it like the registry of my logo or something? That's stupid. So it was a relationship with an entity, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they should know that the digital signature that I have has the same legal value of my handwritten signature, even more, because it's certified, and at what time it was given. It has a timestamp, it has a certificate, everything. And so this entity, and I don't know which one it was, so I don't really want to throw anyone under the bus, but for one specific paper, they said, "Oh no, you can't do this with a digital signature, so please print, sign it, and then scan it." Brilliant.
Wow.
Because that is really,
behind the scenes. He's nodding in disbelief, but also recognition of these processes.
Right. And then in another one, "Oh yeah, you can use," but the same people, okay? "Oh yeah, no, for this you can use the digital key." And I was like,
yes, digital key. We do need a workshop.
Sometimes it's even the people that are working there, or lawyers that are more old-fashioned, or notaries that are more old-fashioned, that don't allow the system to evolve as quickly as it could.
Yeah, and I mean, as much as that's annoying, it's also understandable, isn't it? These people feel their livelihoods attached to that as well. Right, Nuno, I'm sure has something to add to this. Let's bring him on. And Mike Blake. We'll have a lovely full screen for you. I'd love to introduce you to Mike Blake today as well, who's got a business seminar coming up in Caldas da Rainha, which happens to be our Portuguese point of interest. So let's bring Nuno on who to join this conversation. He's recognized a few of the things you've been talking about this morning. Hola, bom dia, Nuno, tudo bem?
Hello, bom dia.
Hi.
Good to see you. Good to see you. And Mike Blake joining us for the first time. I think we've talked to Cordelia before, Mrs. Blake. Let's talk to Mr. Blake now, Mr. Mike Blake. Good morning to you, Mike.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on today.
Well, this is a bit of a businessy special, and so you're most welcome today. You're a business guy, consultant, and how long have you been in Portugal now?
15 months.
15 months, and are you enjoying it?
Best decision I ever made. Yeah, can't say enough about it.
Oh, that's lovely to hear. That's lovely to hear. And as I say, we talk from time to time to Cordelia, who's a great help to us and our community. And she was telling us, and I see her promoting you and your course. Well, not a course, a seminar. I think it's tomorrow evening, isn't it, in Caldas Terrena?
No, it's actually next week. But yeah, it is here in Caldas Terrena, correct.
Okay, so what's going to happen? What are we going to learn with you?
So we're going to learn about how to grow your business into something that's durable and sustainable. And the reason I'm doing that is because, having moved here, I'm meeting a lot of people who are both Portuguese and have immigrated here, and they've got a business or something that's kind of a proto business. And I think there's a lot of folks that maybe started a business because they're here in Portugal. They couldn't find remote work necessarily, so they did what I did. They went into business for themselves, and they're kind of learning how to do that on the fly. So I'm hoping to provide some ideas and some skills as to how to actually go about doing that.
Yeah, because it's quite the learning curve, isn't it? It's quite the plot twist filled journey, actually, because I recognize that, and I'm sure Nuno and Raquel definitely would understand this. People coming to Portugal think, well, I'll just get a job, and then, okay, that's not as simple as I thought it was. I'm going to struggle to make the sort of money I need getting a job. My Portuguese might not be good enough to get a job. I'll start my own business. That's nice and easy, isn't it? Starting a business. I'll do that thing I've been wanting to do forever. I'll turn my hobby into my millionaire lifestyle. And that's a whole can of worms right there, isn't it? It's a great idea. And I really support people doing that. It's lovely to turn your passion into profit. But there's quite a lot of complexity in that. And you help people with that process, do you, Mike?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's easy to start a business. It's quite another matter to make the business actually, work and be durable and reduce the income that you had when you were working for somebody else.
Very good. Okay, so what's it going to look like? We go to this fantastic co-working space, I think, that you and Cordelia work at in Caldas.
Yeah, so we've been working at a place called Prontos here in Caldas. They have two locations now, both in town. One near the train station, and another near the Praça das Frutas, which has been brand new, renovated. It looks like as modern an office as you possibly could see, but with a twist. They're building a lot of community, so there's a lot of open space, interaction with our neighbors, and so forth. And then they now have a dedicated teaching area. And I think we're going to be one of the first to break that in as well. So we're looking forward to that.
Wonderful. Great news. Okay. And so who's it aimed at? These people we've just described, really, who thought, okay, I'd love to start my own business. And they're kind of getting to the crash and burn part that you said. It's easy to start, but it becomes more difficult to continue. And there are all sorts of reasons for that, many of which we talk about with Raquel here, and many of which Nuno knows very, very well from his own experience as an entrepreneur here in Portugal. But is that the sweet spot of the type of client or the type of guest you're looking for next week?
Well, yeah, I think so. This is kind of an experiment of ours. When you come over here, you have a lot of ideas about what you think you bring to the table as an immigrant, and you're trying to contribute to the local community, right? The whole melting pot kind of thing.
Yes.
But you also want to be a little bit measured, because I've only been here 15 months. I don't consider myself at all an expert on anything Portuguese, except how to make mistakes. I'm really good at that.
There's a club right there.
We could all write a book together on that, right? But yes. Seeing what I see, and not just among locals, by the way, not just among immigrants, by the way, but locals. There seems to be a new entrepreneurial energy that I talk to people, and they say really hasn't been here before. The last maybe 2 to 3 years, lots of people now want to start their businesses. They're not just waiting for somebody to kind of hand them a job, hand them some income. Yeah. So, what we're trying to do is reach out to anybody and say, look, if you're trying to do that, that's great. And, I don't know if your business is going to be successful, is going to fail, but at least let's give you the tools necessary to give yourselves the best opportunity to succeed. And I've been working with entrepreneurs for my entire career, about 30 years, all around the world. And even though Portugal is going to, of course, has its own uniqueness, as does every society, there are some global truths about business, if you will, that apply everywhere.
This is fantastic. This is a lovely coming together this morning, because I know Nuno meets a lot of people, foreigners who come over, who want to give back, who want to start something meaningful. And we've been having conversations about that. Raquel, you definitely recognize this, don't you? Is there an entrepreneurial renaissance happening in Portugal at the moment?
Well, if it has, I've been riding that wave, spot on, because I started this business 2.5 years ago. So I guess I was pretty lucky to be quite on time with that wave. I do think that has rubbed off a little bit on the Portuguese, which is absolutely great. And just yesterday, I was talking about the difference of business culture between people from the US and people from Portugal. It's completely different for several reasons.
Mm.
And those cultural reasons often Portuguese put us back in terms of having the initiative of just creating things, and not be afraid that they'll fail. And that also explains a lot of the differences in entrepreneurship between the US and Portuguese. So although we have a lot of startups and unicorns, and that is because it's the new people, right? It's a new generation. They're not contaminated by the old people that are afraid of creating businesses and fail, because if you fail a business here in Portugal, it's like all your family is condemned. And so they don't have this stigma, which is fantastic, by the way.
Yes.
So I think they are really creating new things, which is fantastic.
I am so delighted to hear that. Nuno's definitely got a comment, which he's hiding behind now. Nuno, what's this? You recognize this trend, I think, don't you? And am I right in saying we do have more and more foreigners saying, I either want to start a business or I want to help businesses here, and they're coming like Mike with all this incredible experience, and they want to give something to Portuguese society. Is that something you're seeing, Nuno?
Yes, I see a lot of passion. Part of the expats just want to give back to the country that are welcoming them.
Yep.
Others, yes, they want to do some because they need to do some money. So I face these two realities. Now, business or entrepreneurship is not an easy thing, especially in Portugal, because we have the mindset, which is if you work to a great corporation like a bank or an insurer, you are well seen by the society. If you are trying to do by your own to earn your life and to provide jobs to others, yes, Raquel, or you are mad, or you are someone that just you don't have other opportunities, so you just are on the opportunity that is left, that is trying to by yourself. And this is one mindset that the mindset that we need to change in Portugal. No
and
doubt.
do you think it is changing? Is that where we're at the moment? There is a change.
Yes, I think so. Wonderful. Because young entrepreneurs, they just don't care. So let's others think what they want, but I'm going to follow my passion and my vision and what I believe. So yes, it's changing. Definitely.
And there is a serious. Sorry, mate. Go on.
And Portugal needs this.
Yes, that's true. Of course it does. And I think the government seemed to be quite supportive of this with some tax breaks for businesses. So there is a perfect storm coming together. However, in any country, I think, as you were saying, Mike, there are some universal themes, and failure is one of them. It's a brave thing to be doing. It doesn't always work out. Statistics about companies in Portugal say that close to 2/3 survive the first year, 52 remain in business after 3 years, and only a third exceed the 7-year mark. That's not a bad rate compared to some I've heard, but that's what you need to prepare yourself for, Mike, I think. And you need all the help you can get, right?
Well, that's it. You look at the businesses that have been most successful, that have been most durable. They succeed because they create a community of people that want to support that business. Now, people don't do that out of the goodness of their hearts. They do that because they see the value that the business creates, and they align with the mission that the business is bringing to the market. And there are some universal truths and a language, if you will, that transcends most societies.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. So help is gathering, amassing to help you if you're an entrepreneur, I think, and the atmosphere is changing, the environment, which is great. Let's keep that going in the right direction together. Mike, I thought you were just popping on for 5 minutes to promote your seminar. It's great that this conversation has developed and broadened out. I'd also like to ask you, if I may, because you chose Caldas as a place to live, what are your favorite 3 things, given that it's our Portuguese point of interest of the week, a little bit of a focus on Caldas. What are the top 3 things for you about living there?
Well, number one is the people. When we visited here first, 2.5 years ago, as we were scouting where to live, we started making friends right away, which I did not expect. You know, when we were exploring coming here, there were a lot of people who told us or said on social media how difficult it was to make friends, and we were bracing for that. We found it to be the exact opposite. It's just been fantastic, and it ain't because I'm good looking, so it has to be something about
that'll
the
be part of it. That's part of it, obviously, isn't it?
The second thing is the climate is fantastic. You know, we're from Atlanta, and Atlanta in the summer it routinely breaks, I guess, 40 degrees centigrade. Whereas here we didn't even bother to buy an air conditioner. So the fact that our climate control consists of simply opening doors and windows is just something that we enjoy and we think is here.
Very good.
And 3, it's for us, it's in the Goldilocks zone. You know, I grew up in a town that I don't think today even has a traffic light yet. We've lived in New York, we've lived in Atlanta, we've lived in Washington, I've lived in other big cities. We're not big city people. So Caldas is in that nice Goldilocks zone where it's big enough that we don't feel that we're isolated from civilization, but it's not so large as to be sort of unfriendly and inaccessible. But if we want that, we're only an hour bus ride from Lisbon. So
absolutely.
It's a great location for us.
And that is the best way to get to Lisbon from Caldas, isn't it? On that bus. And those men who drive, and women who drive those buses and throw them around the streets of Caldas into the old Art Deco bus station. Shout out to them and their incredible driving skills.
Yes,
and shout out to you, Mike. So let us know next week, where can people come and meet you and attend your seminar?
Let's see. I believe it is next Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Yep. And they can register. They can go to the website at promptus.pt and register.
Fantastic. As simple as that. Okay. And is that in the premises near the station? If people come in on the station, are they just walking up from there, or is it the one closer to the Praça da Frutas?
Yeah, it's in the latter. It's in the premises that's closer to the Praça das Frutas.
Okay, which isn't a million miles away, it has to be said, from the railway station. And you'll get to see one of Caldas's iconic landmarks, of course, the Praça da Frutas, although it won't be open at 5 o'clock in the evening, but not long until they set up again for next morning. Those people in that marketplace are incredible, aren't they? Every day they are setting up. You'd think, wouldn't you, after all these years, they'd have created a standing market, but every day it's taken down and put up again next morning, all part of the ritual of the Praça da Frutas in Caldas journey. Mike, great to meet you. I hope it goes well with the seminar, and I hope you'll come back and join us on our business session from time to time.
Great. Well, I had a lovely time. Thanks to all of you.
Cheers, Mike. Love to call Delia. Bye for now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao. There he goes. Well, how about that? How about that? The American entrepreneur coming over, wanting to help out a little bit. What else can we say about the entrepreneurial scene here in Portugal? Those statistics don't make... Well, I mean, do they or don't they? Is that a surprise to you, Raquel, to see that only a third of companies survive after 7 years? Or is that just what people should prepare themselves for? Because it's like just the process of business evolution.
There's a couple of factors that go into it. So one of them is that sometimes people think that it just takes an idea to have a business, and it doesn't. It takes a lot of pieces and a lot of moving pieces together to make a good business. Then I think it's also a matter of having the right professionals by your side, as I'm always saying, because a lot of businesses can get undermined because, like, you don't have good lawyers, you don't have good accountants, you don't have good managers. Okay, it's a good business, but somehow along the way, either because the management or the accounting or the legal assessment isn't done correctly, it's going down the drain, no matter how much money it's making. And I would also like to point out that we should add another bracket to that statistic, which is over the 300 years mark, because we have so many businesses that are 100, like Portugal, you know, the steaks restaurant is about to turn 100 years old, like in 2025. You know, the post office is 500 years.
Yes.
A lot of businesses are like, I've seen one yesterday, it was from 1600 and something. So in Portugal, as much as, you know, there's disadvantages to our culture, there's also a bracket that we can add that not a lot of countries can can put there.
And it's an amazing thing. It's the opposite of unicorns. Well, it's different to being a unicorn business. And the first thing I want to say is they are dinosaur businesses, but that sounds really bad, doesn't it? I guess you'd call them heritage businesses, and there are lots of them, and it's a lovely thing. And that's why you get characterful high streets here. You are seeing the new brands, global brands, but you're seeing a lot of old businesses, and that's a bit of a thing, isn't it? The mum and pops need a bit of support as well, don't they? Because their children often don't want to carry on the family business, and we don't want to see those sort of places closed because they're an incredible asset to the community. There's little hardware shops, and of course the many thousands of restaurants and cafes and little tushkas that there are in Portugal. We want those to continue. Right, now we've got you here, Nuno, from the insurance world, of course. Ruta was in earlier on as well, and we were talking about the cyber attack on the government websites. You often mention this, Nuno. This is a big issue, obviously, in the insurance world, isn't it? Is cyber attack. What's your view on the one that hit the government just recently?
So I left the government issues to the end because it will be a consequence of what I'm going to say. So we don't make a clue about what is happening regarding cyber attacks. No. Banks have special accounts just to pay to indemnity to refund customers due to cyber issues that they had. This week, you can Google it, that it occurs a cyber attack, actually several cyber attacks at robot vacuums in US cities, plenty of them. So they use the speakers.
What happened?
It happened with a specific Chinese brand, it's true, but it can happen with any brand.
Other nationalities of robo vacuum are available.
Well, it was a coincidence for sure, but these ones are Chinese, and people use these speakers to be shouting and screaming bad words through them. They were pursuing pets among the home. Yes.
Hold on a minute. I just need to get this right, because you did mention this. We're in conversation just recently, and I think, okay, robo vacuums, that can't be that much of an issue. You know, so what? The house doesn't get vacuumed by the robo vacuum cleaner because it got cyber attack. But they've got speakers on them, and they were expleting around the house instead of doing the housework, which I think I recognize that pattern. I can see myself in that, but also chasing pets as well. That's an extraordinary dystopian vision. I mean, comedic as well, but what a terrible thing to be happening.
No, as long as we only talk about vacuums, it's okay. But I don't know if you are aware. I don't know if you are aware, but last week or 2 weeks ago, Musk present the robot,
Optimus.
His robot. Yes. And Tesla shares just go down on the next day.
Really? Because like nobody wants that chasing them around the house and swearing.
I don't know, but I think that the future is. I'm not an optimist regarding this, and I express this once in a while. That is, I love tech, and I love electrical EVs, electric cars, but with all the tech, problems will come. So I think that we'll start hearing some problems that are being hacked and so on, because there's no how to avoid this. This is a real problem.
Didn't it? I think it happened with some EVs.
I don't know.
It was some self-driving taxis started honking their horns in the middle of the early hours of the morning. I mean, if it's that easy to make them do that, it does make you wonder about what can be done with an Optimus. You're not optimistic about Optimus by the sound of it. And you were going to connect that to the government and to insurance, presumably, as well. How is it going to be for your industry?
Yes, so government, as any other organization, is subject to cyber attacks.
Yes.
And so this is what happened. And because IMA and government have all this visibility, we are aware. There are news about that, and we are aware of the attacks, cyber attacks. But there are cyber attacks at any moment. In this moment, several cyber attacks will be happening worldwide. Actually, there are some websites that shows where the cyber attacks are coming from and what are the countries that they are hitting.
Yes.
So people know about this, and we are used to use the web, but there are the dark web that it is where everything happens. So yeah, let's enjoy life, the rain today, the sun tomorrow, and
excellent
much
advice.
about
Hey, we've got some questions for you and observations for you professionals here this morning. Thank you for being here. I didn't expect the conversation to go quite in this way, but it is a very good one to be having and to be reflecting on. If you want to lose money even before you receive your bank card, get a WeZync card, allegedly, a credit card. There are hundreds of cases of people already having stuff being bought with their card. That's nice. I mean, looking at that another way, somebody's warming up your card for you and breaking it in, aren't they, and christening your card for you. I mean, that's a service in a way, and they're not even charging you for it. Well, they kind of are, in a way. The digital key, Raquel, digital key, Raquel. Is it even?
I'll answer to that, eh?
New microphone, new name. Is it even available for those
Works
of us
for me.
on the temporary residency for 5 years? Okay, good question. Is that?
Yes.
Oh, for anybody?
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Right.
is. It has to be a special process because all citizens have access to this. Okay, so usually after 5 years, you get the possibility of having citizenship. So those 5-year marks, when we talk about those 5-year marks, is usually to apply for citizenship. And this is available to all citizens, but it is also available to people with temporary residency in a limited scope of time, of course, because we don't know if that residency is going to be given again or if not, but it is possible. And I just remembered another thing. For instance, the criminal record, you can get yours online. You don't have to go anywhere, completely remotely. You pay €5 and you get it on the mail. So there's a lot of good things with technology. And as you know, as with everything, when trains started to exist, everybody thought it was crazy because it would knock, the horse industry out of the way. It would promote communication, but also all the cities that were in between all those older posts vanished. That's the thing, that's why there's that saying, adapt or die. And this is very true in companies, and it's also a bit true in life. And I just wanted to get my 5 cents here. I've been working with like 3 generations different, and we have to learn to work together. And this is the sweet spot, is where you have the experience of a 40, 50-year-old, not my case, but that's age bracket. And then you have like a 20-year-old, but a working, smart 20-year-old, not someone that doesn't want to do anything. Because this is just such a great combination of experience and then capacity of learning new things, or already even knowing new things. That is just, that blows us out of this world. So there's a dark side, as Nuno says, to every good side. I'm quite the opposite of Nuno. I'm usually an optimist. What brings me down mostly is the state of the climate, and that does give me that. I try not to think about that because that really puts me down, the climate change. But other than that, not much can bring me down. And we have to try to, there's balance in everything, and we've had all the society, the civilization has been through so many changes, and everybody thought it would be catastrophic in some way, and then we adapt and
you figure it out, don't we? Yeah, it's funny because I saw a little quote that I was going to put up on the screen a little bit earlier on, and we've got the God Squad tip of the day, and we've got some lovely not so deep thoughts to come to after I've said goodbye to you both. But there is this lovely quote. I don't know who Eugene Ionesco is, but ideologies separate us. We're definitely seeing that in the world at the moment, aren't we? And dreams and anguish bring us together. And I think that is pretty much how it is for us, isn't it? The dream of the future and some of the challenges, the anguish that we're facing, like you say, can bring us together in a way that ideology will probably just continue to separate us. So thank you, Eugene, for that. There was another observation from the Portuguese. Thank you for answering that question about the digital key. Thank you for that information, Antonio, about the WeZync credit card. Be careful with that one. First thing about Portugal that I read, that the taxes of a company are estimated for some period of time, and when they get their first true company accounts in the third year, possibly, they get a shock or a surprise. Is that true?
No.
You need good professionals, don't you? I think that happens because people haven't attended to it.
See? No, this is not true at all. I mean, I couldn't even imagine the circus that the market would be if this were true. No, that's not at all true. There's an estimation. There's you do it in installments. There's you partition the payment so that you don't pay everything in one go.
Yep.
But other than that, is based on accounting papers. So black and white, as true as it may be. So
good.
No.
So get yourself decent professionals. I think. I mean, I can relate to that in the sense that having had not very good advice, or not getting good advice, and then getting some advice which wasn't brilliant originally when we started a business, that can hurt you, and that may be part of what's going on there. So get on board with good professionals from the get-go. You're looking at one on the screen right now, and this from the Portuguese. Can you get insurance against cyber attacks, Nuno? Of course, we give up our biometrics for our convenience, don't you know? They're doing it for us, for our safety, for our convenience. What are you, a conspiracy theorist? Now, all this data, that your fingerprints and your retinal scans and stuff, they're presumably on these sites that are getting cyber attacked. If you suffer a loss as a result, Nuno, is there a policy or a claim that you can pursue?
Yes, there are insurance policies that cover cyber.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, at least in Portugal until now, only companies can have it. So me as a private person, I cannot buy a cyber insurance policy, only through a company. Okay.
Well, there's a good opportunity there, Nuno.
Yes, but we are evangelizing companies, and the Portuguese mindset is, oh, it never happened, so it will not hit us.
Yes.
Okay, just wait. It's a question of time.
It's a question of time, like so many things, isn't it? Okay. And just on a practical note, James, so far the best advice I've heard for managing this is to frequently change one's login codes. I mean, how boring is life going to get if every Sunday night you have to go to your computer and change your 3,000 passwords? Maybe that is what's going to happen. Use a password manager, says James. Enable two-factor authentication, which again is like kind of great, but we're being delayed, aren't we? We're being inconvenienced for our own safety. And there just seems to be more and more of that all the time. And of course, rotate passwords. And I think the pair of you from different angles really have nailed it this morning. It's like, you've got to live life, haven't you? It's important to remain optimistic. It's important to embrace progress, but also important to remember nature. So I guess it's like a hybrid of an Optimus robot and a Boy Scout. Nuno perhaps is the person of the future, maybe as well. Thank you both very much. I'm going to stick around and do the God Squad tip of the day and some of these other comments that have come in. But Nuno, thank you very much. Raquel, thank you very much. Your sound was superb today, may I say. Shout out. Take care. Bye for now. Thank you so much, both of you. There they go. Marvelous. Right. Okay, a controversial view from Hugh here. Climate change is a climate scam. Follow the money. Always worth following the money, isn't it? And thanks everybody for all the advice, including this one wisdom I've learned in all my years of experience. Things are never as good or as bad as, yeah, both works, doesn't it? They're not as good or as bad as we think they will be. Maybe it's the thinking that's the problem. Yes, maybe. Okay. Thank you to all of you who joined me at midday for a little bit of a pause. I think that's quite a useful thing in these times as well. God Squad tip of the day then, and we'll come to your not so deep thoughts as well, because I'm loving those, João Ernesto. And good morning to you, Mike, as well. Didn't shout out to you earlier on in Miranda de Corvo. Bom dia todos e feliz carta. Had a lovely dinner with an old friend last night. He's had a tough time this year, so I hope I helped a little. I'm sure you did. In other news, we're off to buy curtains. Wow, living the dream. God Squad tip of the day. The second exercise that will help build bone density could be if you want to make your bone more dense. And who doesn't like to first thing in the morning? It could be described as a weighted squat. I feel myself getting into more and more trouble now. Taking a weight of 5 to 10 kilograms. This could be a bag of books. Hold it to your chest, and then the vicar walks in. You're squatting on the floor with a bag of books, Bibles possibly, clasped closely to your chest. Then slowly squat down as far as you can. Should we be wearing some protection as well? I'm thinking. Making sure that your back is straight, then push back up again a little faster. Repeat 10 times or so and 3 sets. This loads the hips and the legs. Maybe try it without the books first. That loading in turn triggers bone growth. It is also, of course, will help build muscle. So a win all round. Fantastic. Thank you very much for that God Squad tip of the day. That's superb. Let me just comb the chat. For anyone I might have missed this morning, do forgive me. Thank you, James, for that. I think we'll go out of that. Got a couple of video clips to share with you. The closing moments of Munson and the geezer when Tony got really upset last night. And yet, Pete, I did do that. It is useful to possibly, before you vanish into the ether of the internet, explain. I did exactly that. We're about to go over to GMP TV now. Please subscribe over there if you will, and then you won't miss that anymore. Antonio's giving us a weather report from the capital. Sunny and cloudy in Lisbon, just waiting for the rain. There's optimism for you. Heavy rain in Miranda de Corvo. Thanks, Mike. And Karen there. Hopefully it will clear up later. I'm sure it will. You have, if not my word on that, you have my best wishes and fingers crossed for that as well. João Ernesto, not so deep thought of the day. There's nothing simpler than avoiding people you don't like. Avoiding one's friends. That's the real test, from Dame Maggie Smith. Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much for that one. And another here, not so deep thought 2 of the day. As I learned from growing up, you don't mess with your grandmother. Yes, especially if you're Prince William. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Morning to you, Gemini, as well. Thank you very much. And a yin yang thought of the day. What? This is a new thing, the YYTOD. Don't do this to me, João Ernesto. Or if you do, always please explain the abbreviations, the acronym. Yin yang thought of the day then. This is what happens when you get older and more mature and wiser, isn't it? You get to see things from both views, if not more. Good judgment comes from experience, but experience comes from bad judgment. Ain't that the truth? If it's poor cybersecurity, you just have to look at Revolut, which has more breaches than even Barclays. Go with the safest. Portuguese bureaucracy is positively Vogon. Is that a name of a company or a description, an adjective? I'm not sure what you're talking about there, Pete. Maybe you can pick that up again tomorrow. You would think, says Squire of the Shires, a good idea to keep the fundamental physical system structures in place just in case. Yes, belt and braces. A bit of a backup there. Was almost out of time to register baby born outside hospital. I had to have someone who could speak Portuguese at B2 level. The queues in the end were just like things like, what was the name of your parents? For registering your child. Almost out of time. Okay, well, presumably the worst thing that can happen is you get a fine for that. Or do you miss out on residency and nationality and citizenship, I wonder? With that, good to have you here this morning, James, as well. And a last few comments this morning. Whenever giving data over, it's important to read their privacy policy. Yeah, okay. So spend all Sunday changing your. Here's a new weekend for you for the modern human. Spend all Sunday changing your passwords. That's fun. And then all Saturday reading privacy policies. I mean, come on. There are many cases where companies will sell you something they claim won't collect certain data, which ends up not being true. Oh, I say. 18 watching, 20 now, and only 8 likes. Come on, let's do a mass smash. Let's see if we can break the like button by hitting it at the same time. Come on, lean over to your computer. I know you're gathering books together to put in a bag so you can do a power squat, but if you could just press the like button, that would be awesome. 4 minutes past 10. My goodness. Sorry to keep you, but we've got a couple of videos. We do have the Portuguese with his closing, an upsetting thought of the day, and basically a dad joke that I missed, which is hilarious. And James struggling to understand Portuguese, which I think is a predicament. Many of us can sympathize here, so you might find that helpful as well. Those two, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Take care, and bye for now. Here with Veronica and Carl Hyde tomorrow, and old Poopy Longlegs will be dropping in as well briefly too. Right, Tony, have you had any job offers, or are you thinking of emigrating this week?
No, but just some of the topics tonight really did touch a nerve, and it reminded me of possibly the worst thing that happened to me when I was a child.
Go on.
And it was it sounds pretty simple, but it was quite tragic. It was my grandmother. She told me that she was just popping upstairs. And she went upstairs.
Sorry.
And
I'm sorry. Oh,
she popped. She popped.
She popped. You popped. Tony, would you like to not talk about this? Is it too difficult for you?
You can see it's too difficult for me.
Okay, all right. Shall I just play the music? Oh my God. It's not Portuguese, is it? Oh God. Thanks, James. Oh dear.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.